going to tell you guys today concerns reading. And maybe I should start from the fact that today we have September, so as you probably know, it's back to school. And it happens that at this time of the year, we keep hearing lots of lamenting on TV, for example, on the radio, that readership in Poland is actually dramatically falling, you know. So according to statistics, for example, about between 50 and 60 people, 60% of adult Poles haven't read a single book in the last 12 months. And those of educated people having simply a university degree, 20% of them haven't read a single newspaper article longer than 3 pages within the last 12 months. You are probably thinking right now, why am I telling you all this? Simply the reason is that today the topic of my speech is to inspire you to do something. And I will try to basically inspire you to give up on reading and stop worrying about those poor statistics. You may probably be thinking right now, what is this balding dude blabbing about, you know? What is he talking about? Why should we stop actually read? It's such a pleasure, it just enriches us somehow. And you're probably right, because if I want to inspire you to do something, I should have certain charisma. I cannot be just a simple Peter from Kielce, which obviously I am. So I have to admit I don't have this charisma. I don't have authority, probably for most of you. I'm just Mr. Nobody, so you don't know me. So, and you probably may agree that you need this charisma and authority to inspire people to do something or give up on something. But I was thinking today, what if I just got help from one of the most prolific minds in history of humankind, the father of modern physics, the inventor of theory of relativity, and some other theories that I can't even pronounce well, let alone understand, namely Albert Einstein. So I would like you, for a moment, to imagine that Albert is just standing over here, next to me, and we just listen to what he says about reading. So I will quote this, I hope that you simply memorize what Einstein said. So Einstein said about reading something like this, that reading, and I have to stress it, after a certain age, diverts the mind too much from its creative pursuits, and any man who reads too much and thinks too little, what was the quote later? Okay, any man who reads too much and thinks too little falls into lazy habits of thinking. When you think about this quote, it simply flies into the face of everything that you have ever been taught. By your teachers, by school, by parents, by professors, by colleagues. Simply because, in my opinion, and opinion of Albert Einstein, you have been brainwashed. They told you that if you want to call yourself an educated person, a person with a higher education, you should be doing a serious amount of reading. That every single moment of your free time, you should be devoting to reading books. That if you want to, for example, look educated, you need to carry a book on the bus. If you want to, let's say, have something to say to your friends, you have to discuss certain books. Unfortunately, if you think about this, what Einstein says, there's a lot of truth in this, simply because reading, especially extensive reading and reading of fiction, produces only input and produces no output. When you read hours upon hours, you're probably thinking that you are doing some sort of a favor to your brain. But in fact, what you're doing, you are just lulling this to sleep. You're just boring this to death. So when you read, you simply read other people's ideas, but you do not come up with your own ideas. You do not touch your creative side. But guys, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that reading in general is bad. You know, like in everything in life, everything has its own time. So reading is obviously good when you go, for example, to school, when you go to university. This is actually the reason you go there. When you're like 15, 20, this is the time to do your reading. Now, I can't imagine, for example, that I haven't read like Master of Margaret or Catch-22 or Martin Eden or even Polish Nasza Skapa. But there's time for that, you know. Once you hit a certain age, as Einstein said, a few more books on your account actually will not make any difference to you because you cannot be complete. There are so many books out there that you will never be able to catch up with everything which is being written. Book is just another product that they want to sell you. So my idea is to be really happy, to be really true with yourself. You have to touch your creative side. Instead of reading about what other people are doing, you have to start doing this yourself. You have to do things manually. You have to do things yourself instead of reading about them. For example, you can start reading, instead of reading, you can start writing yourself. Start a blog, start a web page. For example, in my case, since I'm the PR manager over here, you know, officer, I keep writing this blog of our club. I can't tell you guys how much pleasure it gives me to write something. I don't even know if people read this, but still, it's a kind of a pleasure instead of reading, just writing to other people. You can, for example, start or take up a sport, start to learn a music instrument, or take up cooking, for example. In my case, I love cooking. It's a great thing to learn new recipe, to cook for other people. You can also, for example, do like in my case, some video recording, and later master complicated software to edit this video. Who knows? One day, this is my hobby, but perhaps in a couple of years, when I'm good enough and somebody will be willing to pay for that, I'm simply a double winner, because I learned a skill, and at the same time, somebody is willing to pay for that. Instead of reading about this, I simply do things. So my idea is, guys, if you really want to be happy with your eyes, you have to just touch this creative side of yourself. Try to see how creative you are instead of reading about other people's lives and what they have achieved and what is on, what is off. Thank you.